Imagine an empire rising from the golden sands of the desert, an extraordinary people who would conquer the heart of Morocco and challenge the most powerful kingdoms of their time. This is the remarkable story of the Marinid Dynasty, a Berber tribe that would reshape the destiny of a nation and leave an indelible mark on history that echoes through centuries. Picture the 13th century. While Europe languished under feudal rule and the Middle East witnessed the emergence of new powers, the northern shores of Africa became the stage for an extraordinary transformation. The Marinids, a fierce Berber group emerging from the rugged Atlas Mountains and windswept deserts, were about to write an extraordinary chapter in human history. These were not just warriors, but visionaries. They weren't merely conquering territories, they were architects of cultural revolution. Imagine a people so determined that they would unify a fragmented land, transform architectural landscapes, and redefine political boundaries. How could a group from the harsh mountain regions and arid deserts achieve such an incredible feat? What made them so unique that their story is not just about conquest, but about transformation? The Marinids would prove that true power comes not just from military might, but from vision, cultural sophistication, and an unbreakable spirit of unity. For those who love untold stories, who crave to unravel the mysteries of great empires, who want to journey through time and discover how ordinary people can create extraordinary legacies, this is your story. Buckle up for an incredible historical adventure that will challenge everything you thought you knew about medieval North Africa. Are you ready to dive deep into one of history's most fascinating and lesser-known dynasties? Join me as we uncover the incredible saga of the Marinid Dynasty, a tale of courage, culture, and unstoppable human potential. Picture the rugged, windswept Atlas Mountains, a landscape of harsh beauty and ancient secrets. Here, in these unforgiving peaks, a remarkable transformation was about to unfold. The Marinids, a Berber tribe with nomadic roots, were about to write a chapter of history that would change North Africa forever. Their story begins with a leader named Abu Yahya, a name that would become legendary. Imagine a man with vision so powerful he could unite scattered tribes into a force that would shake the foundations of medieval kingdoms. These were not just warriors, but strategic masterminds who understood that true power comes from unity. In the year 1248, a date that would be etched in historical memory, the Marinids achieved something extraordinary. They conquered the city of Fez, transforming it from a mere settlement into the pulsing heart of their emerging empire. Can you feel the thundering hooves, the battle cries echoing through the mountain valleys? This was not just a conquest, but a rebirth. But here's a mind-blowing curiosity that most history books won't tell you. The Marinids were military innovators far ahead of their time. They revolutionized defensive architecture in ways that would make modern military strategists sit up and take notice. Imagine massive fortresses with walls so advanced they seemed almost impenetrable. These weren't just stone barriers. They were technological marvels of their era. Their secret weapon, an unprecedented ability to unite Berber tribes that had fought each other for generations. Where others saw division, Abu Yahya saw potential. Where previous leaders saw competing groups, he saw a unified force waiting to be unleashed. It was a vision of unity that would transform a nomadic people into a powerful dynasty. Think about this. In a world of constant conflict, where kingdoms rose and fell like waves, the Marinids managed to create something truly remarkable. They weren't just conquerors, they were architects of a new political and cultural landscape. Their military strategy was ruthless yet brilliant. Their understanding of tribal dynamics was unprecedented. And their vision, absolutely expansionist. These were people who didn't just want to survive. They wanted to create an empire that would be remembered for centuries. From the peaks of the Atlas Mountains to the streets of Fez, the Marinid rise was nothing short of a historical miracle. a testament to what humans can achieve when vision, strategy, and unity come together in a perfect storm of ambition. Enter Abu Yusuf Yaqub, a leader whose name would become synonymous with power, vision, and unprecedented ambition. This was the moment when the Marinid dynasty would transform from a rising force to an unstoppable empire that would reshape the entire landscape of North Africa and Southern Europe. Imagine a leader so strategic, so bold, that he didn't just dream of conquering territories, he envisioned creating a civilization. Under Yaqub's leadership, the Marinids did something extraordinary. They weren't content with merely controlling Morocco. No, they set their sights on something far more audacious, expanding their territories into the southern regions of Spain, directly challenging the Christian kingdoms that dominated the Iberian Peninsula. But here's where the Marinids truly distinguished themselves from mere conquerors. They weren't just about military might, they were cultural architects. While their armies expanded territories, their scholars and builders were constructing something far more lasting, centers of learning that would become beacons of Islamic education and culture. Take the Bou Inania Madrasa in Fez, a monument that would become legendary. This wasn't just a building, it was a statement. Intricate tile work that seemed to dance with geometric precision, arches that told stories of mathematical brilliance, spaces designed to inspire learning and contemplation. Can you picture it? A place where knowledge was worshipped, where scholars from across the Islamic world would gather to exchange ideas, study philosophy, mathematics, and theology. This was an empire that understood a profound truth. True power isn't just about conquering lands, it's about conquering minds. While their armies fought battles on the frontiers, their madrasas were fighting a different kind of war, a war against ignorance, against division. Under Abu Yusuf Yaqub, the Marinids reached the absolute pinnacle of their power. They controlled vast territories, from the Atlantic coast to the borders of Algeria. They faced Christian kingdoms in Spain, not just with military strategy, but with a cultural sophistication that was generations ahead of its time. Imagine the contrast. While much of medieval Europe was struggling through dark and limited periods of learning, the Marinid Empire was creating educational institutions that would become the Harvard and Oxford of their time. They weren't just ruling, they were enlightening. This was the Marinid Golden Age, a time when an empire didn't just exist, it transformed everything it touched. A testament to what humans can achieve when ambition meets education, when military might is balanced with cultural depth. Their legacy, not just conquered territories, but a civilization that would inspire generations to come. Glory is never a straight path. And for the Marinids, their incredible journey was about to be tested in ways they could never have imagined. Picture a dynasty at its peak, seemingly invincible, suddenly confronting a perfect storm of challenges. Internal tensions began to simmer like a pot ready to boil over. Tribal revolts erupted across their territories, old rivalries and deep-seated conflicts that threatened to tear apart everything they had built. But the external pressures were even more terrifying. The Christian kingdoms of the Iberian Peninsula were not just waiting, they were plotting, preparing, building alliances that would shake the very foundations of Marinid power. The year 1340 would become a date etched in blood and memory, the Battle of Rio Salado. Imagine the scene, two massive forces colliding, the fate of entire kingdoms hanging in the balance. A Christian alliance united in their determination to push back the Marinid influence would deliver a blow so profound it would change the course of history. This wasn't just a battle. This was a turning point that would limit the Marinids' European ambitions forever. Can you feel the dust of the battlefield? Hear the clash of weapons, the thundering of hooves, the desperate cries of warriors fighting for survival. Here's a mind-blowing fact that most history books gloss over. The Marinids were actually pioneers of military architecture. Their fortresses and defensive structures were so advanced that they would influence military design for generations to come. Imagine walls that seem to defy the very laws of medieval engineering. But even the most brilliant military innovations couldn't stop the tide of history. The Battle of Rio Salado was more than a defeat. It was a harsh reminder of the fragility of power. Now, I want you to pause and think. What aspect of the Marinid dynasty has blown your mind so far? Was it their incredible cultural achievements, their military innovations, their ability to unite diverse tribes? If you're loving this journey through history, smash that like button. Share this story with anyone who loves a tale of rise, struggle, and epic historical drama. Subscribe to the Medieval Archives, and let's dive deeper into the incredible stories that shaped our world. Drop a comment below. Which part of the Marinid story surprised you the most? What would you have done differently if you were leading this incredible dynasty? The Marinid story is far from over. Their ability to face adversity would soon be put to the ultimate test. Every great empire has its moment of sunset. And for the Marinids, the 15th century would become a haunting chapter of gradual descent, a story of how even the mightiest dynasties can crumble from within. Picture a once powerful empire now caught in a web of internal conflicts. Imagine the tension, the whispers of betrayal echoing through the grand halls of Fez. Tribal rivalries that had been carefully managed for generations began to resurface, creating fractures that would slowly but surely weaken the foundation of Marinid power. But internal struggles were just half the story. On the horizon, a new threat was emerging. The Portuguese, ambitious, technologically advanced, with naval capabilities that would reshape global trade and conquest. They were like sharks, sensing weakness in a once dominant predator. The year 1465 would become the final punctuation mark in the Marinid saga. The last Marinid sultan was deposed, not with a thunderous battle cry, but with the quiet, devastating stroke of political intrigue. An era was ending, a dynasty falling silent. Yet here's the most remarkable part of their story. The Marinids might have fallen, but they were far from forgotten. Their legacy would survive in the very stones of Morocco. Walk through the streets of Fez today, and you'll see their architectural whispers. Every intricate tile, every carefully crafted archway, every madrasa that still stands is a testament to their incredible cultural vision. This wasn't just an empire that conquered. This was an empire that created, an empire that understood that true power lies not in military might, but in the ability to inspire, to educate, to transform culture itself. The Marinids might have lost their political throne, but they won something far more enduring: immortality through culture. Their architectural innovations, their educational institutions, their artistic vision would continue to influence Moroccan identity for centuries to come. Empires rise, empires fall, but some empires, they become eternal. The Marinid dynasty proved that legends are not measured by the length of their reign, but by the depth of their impact. Close your eyes and imagine a world where warriors are not just defined by their battles, but by their ability to create beauty. This is the extraordinary story of the Marinids, a dynasty that was so much more than conquering armies. These were not mere soldiers. They were patrons of knowledge, architects of enlightenment, creators of spaces that would inspire generations. Their madrasas were not just buildings. They were beacons of intellectual revolution, drawing scholars from every corner of the Islamic world like moths to a mesmerizing flame. Take the Bou Inania Madrasa in Fez, a structure so breathtaking that it would become the crown jewel of medieval Islamic architecture. Imagine walking through its halls, intricate geometric tiles that seem to dance with mathematical precision, arches that tell stories of astronomical knowledge, courtyards that whisper secrets of philosophical debates. This wasn't just a school. This was a cathedral of learning, a testament to the Marinid belief that true power comes from knowledge, not just conquest. While other empires were building walls, The Marinids were building mines. Their architectural innovations were nothing short of revolutionary. Every tile, every arch, every carefully crafted space was a statement that said, learning is sacred, knowledge is beautiful, culture is our greatest weapon. Scholars would travel thousands of miles to study in these magnificent institutions. Imagine a young student from distant lands, crossing deserts and mountains, driven by the reputation of Marinid learning centers. Islamic philosophers, mathematicians, theologians, all converging in these incredible spaces created by a dynasty that understood the true meaning of cultural leadership. The Marinids proved something profound, that a civilization is not measured by the lands it conquers, but by the ideas it nurtures, the beauty it creates, the knowledge it spreads. Their influence would ripple through centuries. Look at Moroccan architecture today, and you'll see the DNA of Marinid vision. Their artistic and educational legacy became the foundation of a cultural identity that would survive long after their political power had faded. They were warriors. They were scholars. They were artists. They were the Marinids, and their true conquest was not of land, but of human potential. Sometimes the most extraordinary stories emerge from the most unexpected places. The Marinids teach us that greatness isn't about where you start. It's about vision, unity, and the audacious belief that you can transform the world. Imagine a people emerging from the harsh margins of the desert, from windswept mountains where survival itself is a daily challenge. These weren't just nomads, they were dreamers. Visionaries who would reshape an entire civilization, leaving marks so deep that centuries later we're still telling their story. Their journey is more than historical narrative. It's a profound lesson in human potential. From their rise in the mountain valleys to their peak of power, from their battles with Christian kingdoms to their incredible cultural achievements, the Marinids showed us something fundamental. True power is never just about conquering territories. It's about conquering minds, inspiring cultures, and creating legacies that outlive political boundaries. So I ask you, what can we learn from the Marinids? How can their story inspire us today? Think about their ability to unite diverse tribes, their commitment to knowledge, their understanding that cultural sophistication is the most powerful weapon any civilization can wield. In a world often divided, their story reminds us that unity, education, and vision can transform seemingly impossible challenges. Their rise, their golden age, their eventual decline, it's a complete human drama, a testament to the complexity and richness of Moroccan history. A reminder that empires are not just about conquests, but about the human spirit's incredible capacity for creation and transformation. Loved this journey through history? Then do something about it. Hit that like button. Share this story with everyone who loves a tale of human resilience and vision. Subscribe to the Medieval Archives, your portal to incredible historical narratives that will blow your mind. Drop a comment. What aspect of the Marinid story surprised you the most? What lesson would you take from their incredible journey? Because history isn't just about the past. It's about understanding ourselves, our potential, our shared human story. Until the next incredible adventure.